Okay, guys. So that about brings us into our last main topic of the evening. And before I get into this main topic, I kind of want to give a shout out to actually one of the people who commented on one of these videos. Uh, I can only remember the name TJ. TJ, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting the second part of your username on YouTube, but you posted a really thoughtful question on one of my videos about Katerina Macario, and in terms of indicating what were the implications of COVID-19 on the National Women's Soccer League. And it made me think actually quite a bit. So I appreciate you prompting that thought that in any of my videos that I've been making since I've started making content about a year back, I've never really talked fully about COVID-19's impact on the NWSL. I've certainly talked about it in previous videos before in relation to the WSL and maybe even Division 1 Femenil, but I've never talked about it in the NWSL. So for this third main topic, I will delve into the impact of COVID-19 on the National Women's Soccer League. So let me start off by saying that, of course, I know there are way more important things going on in the world besides how COVID-19 impacts women's soccer. My heart goes out to all of you who might be struggling with the illness right now, have family members who are struggling or who have passed, or if you're struggling with it right now in any way, shape, or form, my heart goes out to you, and I hope that everything is okay. I'm just going to talk about it in the little microcosm that is sport and women's football, and just kind of delve into that in a little bit deeper detail. But I want to give that disclaimer before diving in. But let's kind of look into how COVID-19, in my mind, has impacted the NWSL. So I'm going to start off by saying that just about everyone's been affected by the current pandemic, and that includes all of the different leagues. Division 1 Feminine only played 16 matches in the 2019-2020 season. The same goes for the WSL. They only played 15 or 16 matches, depending on what club you were, in the 2019 season. And with that, the NWSL only played, at minimum, not including playoffs, only 8 matches for their 2020 season. Unless you're the Orlando Pride, which you probably only played 4 because they had to miss on the Challenge Cup because a lot of their players tested positive for the coronavirus before the Challenge Cup started. So even fewer if you're part of the Orlando Pride. In my mind, I think the NWSL was, without doubt, hit the hardest by the pandemic out of all of the women's soccer leagues in the world. I don't follow a ton of other leagues super closely like I do the 3 leagues aforementioned, but out of all the leagues that I know, I think the NWSL was probably hit the hardest. When you would normally have a season where you're playing 20, 30 plus games and you only play 8, that is a very big difference. You're used to traveling and playing for 4, 5, 6, 7 months out of the year, and you only play for 2 months. Like, that is a big change. So that deals a lot of stress mentally for the players' families. They dealt with a lot of anxious feelings because who knew what was going to happen at the beginning of this pandemic, right? You just never know what the future holds, and that's really stressful for the players. And when it comes to the NWSL, when they're only playing 8 games, that also adds more to the stress to it. But there's a silver lining to this for the NWSL anyway. I think that although the NWSL is the most affected by the pandemic, given that they've only played a few games, much fewer than the other leagues around the world, I think that they grew the most from it out of any other league, and here's why. Going back a little bit, how they're more affected by it than other leagues, right when the NWSL would normally start their season around March is when the pandemic first hit. And when the pandemic first hit, not a ton of information was known about the COVID-19 virus. Because of that, they pretty much had to basically cancel the league at the time because they just didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew what was going on. So by then, there wasn't even a season to be had. And because of that, the league had to try and scramble with a brand new commissioner, mind you. Lisa Baird was just hired like right at the beginning of all this. And they had to quickly shut everything down and figure out how they're going to cope with it. Well, they weren't already halfway through the season like the WSL and Division 1 Femenil were. So like they hadn't played any games at all. They were already down to 0, while at least the other 2 leagues had some form of consistently throughout. But with that, the NWSL had to adjust the most to adversity, and I believe they grew the most because of it. They dealt with a very big crisis situation, I think, beautifully, And with Lisa Baird, they were the first major American sports league to really return to play. And the best part was they had zero positive COVID-19 cases for the Challenge Cup, and I believe also for the fall series. And that's the best part, is that the Challenge Cup was so successful in the middle of summer that they decided to go forward with the fall series and get that momentum continued. They got to get their players in the league to play games safely and very effectively too, so everybody could get paid. The players could do what they love, and that's just fantastic. And they did it safely. That is the main objective. Now, that's just speaking in terms of short-term success. They learned how to adapt to situations very quickly and very gracefully. But now in the long run, notice what they did to their schedule now for the 2021 season. If my memory serves me right, they have added 2 new tournaments to each and every NWSL season. They have added the Challenge Cup, which will take place before every 2021 season, or every NWSL season. And they've also added a fall series tournament that will take place post NWSL season every single year. So basically, what the NWSL has done is they've adapted so well that they're like, we kind of like this idea. Why don't we have 2 domestic club tournaments every single year? That gives players 8 more games and more now, because they'll have more teams playing with all the expansions and all that other stuff going on. It's going to give more exposure to the league. It's going to build a lot more hype around it. It's going to give fans something to look forward to. It's going to give more players a shot at trying to be professional women's players. And it's going to give coaches more of a chance to experiment with their squad and discover the next big talents. So, all in all, with this pandemic, although it tremendously threw off a lot of players in the league, and it caused a big stir, and it made them feel, anxious and mentally unstable, which is who doesn't these days, right? Everybody feels that way with the pandemic going on. Um, it gave them the inspiration to adapt and change the league in order to grow it just that much more. They now have 2 additional domestic club tournaments going on each and every season to complement the NWSL. It gives all of us fans something more to look forward to, more women's soccer to watch, more women's soccer to absorb. And it also kind of mimics what has been tried and true for other leagues around the world for years to come, which is those domestic cups. It's kind of fun because then it gives teams a chance who might not win the NWSL title a chance to win some of these other cups too. So it gives your team a bigger chance and kind of builds the hype around winning, trophies, additional silverware, things like that. It just makes it so much more fun, and it presents a lot more opportunities for a lot of players, fans, and coaches that just were not available previously. So, despite the pandemic having such an impact on the NWSL, at the end of the day, and all of its players, all of its coaching staff, you name it, something good came out of it. A silver lining came out of it, and I think the league as a whole grew from it. All right, guys. So I think that'll do it for this particular podcast. What do you guys think about how the COVID-19 has impacted the league? Do you think the league has grown from it? Do you think the league could still grow more from it? Jump down in the comments below and let me know your thoughts.